I knew him just a little bit, but I feel like he's had such a hashpah on all of us. And that is David Goloventzitz, the son of our dear friends Shimon and Esti Goloventzitz. And our lives have all been enhanced tremendously by the love of this family. So I want to just sing the Ilui Nishmato right now. And I just want to also just, mamish, thank everyone for being with us again. This is like not taken for granted that we have so much shidurim. We are constantly, trying to stay in touch with everyone to the best of our ability. And we know that, this is not the ultimate. The ultimate is definitely if we could be, together. But Baruch Hashem, this is what we have right now. And we're very lucky. Baruch Hashem. Okay. Ay da 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 da, ay da da do, ay da di da di da da do, ay da da do, ay da di di, ay da di da di, ay da da. Ay da da do, ay da do do, ay da da do do, ay da da, ay da do, ay da di, ay da do. Do 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 da 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 da. Did na 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 na. Oh, da di 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 do 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 do. Da 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 di di. Ay da 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 da. Ni na da di 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 da do 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 do. It's one of my brother's nigunim. It's one of my favorite nigunim. Yisifnach liboni ve'odaisam Yeheve beidava kava vadama Yisifnach liboni ve'odaisam V'visashli mishali V'indeli boi V'liba l'chol amach Yisrael V'letav l'chaim v'lishlam V'visashli mishali Deli boi Beliba b'chol amach Yisrael Letav u'lechayim May the zchut of this precious neshama, of David's neshama, protect all of us, waken our hearts to be doing more and more good, and to follow all the dreams Hashem has for us, be b'simcha, and to Bezrat Hashem greet Him again speedily in our days, with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu, the Karov Mamash, v'me'era b'yameinu, Amen. So where are we, Chevra? we're in a really special place, Baruch Hashem. We have such perfect timing. What does that mean? We have perfect timing. It means that Emunah, in its essence, means that I have everything I need to do everything I need to do right now. I have everything in the world that I need in order to do what I need to do right now. That's Emunah. Not I believe everything will be good, but that I have everything that I need in order to do everything that I need to do right now. And just to focus on those words for a few minutes is very empowering. And I would also say that, like, in terms of being timely, that right now, maybe the last few days haven't been as wild as it's been in the last few weeks outside of the land. So we're not gonna tell everyone that it's time to come home because it's getting bad. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, it's irrelevant. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly, it's his clock, his time. And all we need to do is to just, well, actually my watch isn't on me, but all we need to do right now is to just set our timing, to this clock. So it's uploading right now. There's a short video we prepared to put out to the world, both of us here and in Chutz La'aretz, that last week we already read Parshat Chukat in Eretz Yisrael, and now we're reading Balak. And Chukat is going to be read this Shabbos also in Chutz La'aretz because they're catching up. And it's just so beautiful how the paths towards home, like that guy that, mechaven, that person in the airport that always has those huge orange things that guides the planes, right? So, a lot of those guys are out of business now in Israel, especially since all of El Al is Mekurka again, is grounded. But we have such an opportunity right now. Those of us that aren't scared to love and aren't scared to show love or aren't scared to ask for love and to ask to learn how to love, we have an opportunity to be those people right now, lifting up the arms with pride and love and guide home. The title of the shir tonight is a big one. It's a very big one. We're lifting up the hands very proudly, with a lot of anah, with a lot of humility. And the question we posed for the shir is, why is it that the nations of the world don't really want us, or at least they're under the assumption that if we come back home, it's going to be very bad for them, even though it's not true. Because we know that when we come back home, we make the whole world more beautiful. It's not just a Jewish thing. Mashiach is not a Jewish thing. Geula is not a Jewish thing. It's a universal thing. It's for everyone. It's for absolutely everybody, right? So we are going to go into Parshat Balak. We're going to learn half a pasuk, half a line of a midrash, and one paragraph in the Shlomo. Very, very focused, very pashut. It really isn't something too hard to grasp, but it's something to really daven with very strongly. And I had some thoughts as to what we were going to do tonight, but this morning I have a chavrusa with one of my dear friends here in the community, with Yossi Sasson, on Thursdays, and we learned something in the Shlomo this morning that was really calling to me, and that's what I would like to learn with you. But first, let's just refresh our memories for a second to this very confusing story of Balak and Bilam. And like we say every year, in the name of Reb David Zeller, Olav Shalom, who said it in the name of the Talmud Rebbe, the Magen David, he said, Balak and Bilam, the letters Balak and Bilam spell out the words Bilbul Amok, mass confusion. Very confusing. Kind of like how we feel here as where we just got new instructions from the Ministry of Health just 10 minutes before Shir that shuls are back to 20. Unless you're a Moadon. If you're a Moadon, which is like a club, then you can be 50. So like maybe we'll be a clubhouse this Shabbos. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's bilbul amok. It's very confusing. Lo muvan bichlal. And whenever we learn the parsha of Balak, and we again open these up to these psukim and try to figure out what the story is, what the story is really about, it just becomes more and more, I don't want to say confusing, but more and more mafli, wondrous. A guy that wants to curse us is blessing us. A parsha that doesn't involve any Jew. No, Moshe Rabbeinu, Am Yisrael, only the end. It's the problem with the Aver, but with the Bnos Moav, but the story of Balak and Bilam is something that we weren't even involved with. We didn't even know about it until a year later, like we learned in previous years. And who is this mysterious guy who has such a da'at elyon? He knows exactly when to curse Yidden because he knows the exact moment that God is angry at us. Every year it gets more and more mysterious and wondrous. But since this year we're in the parsha, all of us are in the parsha of Am Yisrael coming home, there's one part of Balak's words before the whole thing with the blessings and the curses begin, which shed a lot of light as to the kochot of evil, the dark forces that are still working very hard in the world right now. So you'll see right now in front of you, we're going to learn right now again, half a pasuk, and then we're going to learn one line of a midrash. So in front of you, you see that it says in the parsha, Ve'ata lecha na ara li et ha'am hazeh, Balak asks of Bilam, listen, I need you to do me a favor. Go and curse this people, ki atzum hu mimeni, because they're much larger or bigger than me. It's not really important right now what he really meant over here. I mean, again, it's important, but not for the context of what we're learning right now. Ki atzum hu mimeni. And then he says, ulai uchal nakebo, maybe we can hit them. But the last piece is what we're really focusing on. Va'agarashenu min haaretz. And we will exile them, we will throw them out of the land. Which land? What's going on over here? So in the Midrash Rabbah says something very, very important. As you see in front of you, the Midrash Rabbah says, Va'agarashenu min haaretz, lo haya mevakesh ela legarsham shelo yikansu le'eretz Yisrael. The Midrash says, you know what he really, really wanted? You know what Balak really wanted? More than anything, more than cursing Yidden, more than making it hard for us. What he really wanted to do to us is that he wanted to prevent us from coming to Eretz Yisrael as a people. That's what bothered him more than anything. Yes, he says, I'm scared of them. There's so many of them. They might try to kill me. He's paranoid, all those things. That could be definitely how we learn out the pshat. But in the pnimius of what we're saying over here, based on this midrash, is that he was freaked out that we would reach our destination. Why? Why was he so scared of Am Yisrael coming home? And why is the world so scared of us coming home? What is it? Now, truth be told, I was almost going to title the shir something else. I was going to say, why is it that Am Yisrael so badly does not want Am Yisrael to come home? But that's too insane to say something like that. If I had to rephrase it, I would say, why is it that a part of the Am Yisrael does not want us to come home? Maybe that's what I would say. I'm not sure exactly. But the point is that this midrash is really helping us to understand what's happening in the world today. And there's such a pull, there's such a koach mashiach. There is such a pull, and it's wild how absolutely how how do you say how much it's enigmatic, how much it's drawing out from us, from so much koach within the Am itself to get our acts together. There's literally a koach that's driving us to listen to what Balak wanted. And Balak wanted to make sure that Yidden would not come home. And like we said, the question is why? Why is it like this? And it's so hard to really put our fingers on it. It could, there's so many different things that we could say about it. Like, what is the real reason behind it? So what I wanted to do is to understand not just what happened back then, but to try to understand what's happening today and why is it that there's such a pull to make sure that the Am does not come home. Remember, whenever there's a pull for Kedusha, there's just as strong a pull to the other side as well. So if you have in front of you, now you'll see the piece from the Netivot Shalom. My screen, for some reason, my whole screen went blank, so I'm just holding, I don't see anything. I'm assuming that you see me. I see that the light of the camera is still on, so I assume you see me, but I'm gonna read it from inside over here. Now this is the middle of a piece. Those of you that have the Shlomo, that have Netivot Shalom, it's the piece that begins on Kuf Lamed Hey, Sefer Bamidbar Kuf Lamed Hey, under the title Va'agarashenu min ha'aretz. So, in the middle of this piece, the Shlomo addresses exactly the inyan that we brought up right now. Why is it that Balak was talking about making sure that we would not come back home? Listen to this. This is, when we were learning this morning, mamish goosebumps and chills. Mamish chills. Look at this. ובזה יש לפרש. מה שאמר בלק, אולי אוכל נקה בו, ואגרשנו מן הארץ. Maybe this is what it means. When Balak said, maybe we can hit them hard and we can drive them out of the land. What does it mean? היינו לגרש את שלטון הקדושה מן הארציות. When the Torah says here that he will drive us from the Aretz, what does Aretz mean? Aretz means this world, land, Haaretz. What do we know about Haaretz? That we were given the opportunity, Am Yisrael, and Eretz, we'll get to that in a second, but Am Yisrael was given the opportunity to be Mekadesh the Artziyut, to sanctify the Eretz, this world. Last week in Shir, we quoted a Breslover teaching saying, Hashemayim Shemayim LaHashem, the heavens were given to God, V'ha'aretz natan lifnei Adam. And then David HaMelech says, but the land, the Aretz, here was given to man. So in Breslov they say, V'ha'aretz, God gave lifnei Adam, he gave the land lifnei Adam, la'asot mehem shamayim, to make shamayim out of it, meaning to take the most mundane things in the world and sanctify them. That's a Jew's inyan in this world. It's not to take holy and make it holier. It's to take down here, this world, and to elevate it. And that, Balak, according to the Shlomo, couldn't stand. He couldn't stand that this world was being elevated. He couldn't stand that his moral ethics, which were probably the most gruesome moral ethics that were in mankind, he couldn't stand that there was a people that actually had real holy moral ethics elevating te'avod gufaniyot, elevating physical lusts. He couldn't take it. But we have the opportunity. I was saying this morning to the Chaver that I had the privilege of spending some time earlier this week with a big tzaddik, Rabbi Shalom Arush. And we were sitting at a table, we were doing a program together. Someone had called in and asked about what is the art, the real art and the secret of being thankful. And Rabbi Shalom said, thankful? What do you mean thankful? And he started grabbing the chair that he was sitting on. He's like, thank you for this chair. He wasn't trying to be cute or funny, but he was literally crying out to Hashem saying, thank you so much for this chair. Thank you, Hashem. What happens to you? What happens to a person when they say thank you for a chair? At that moment, the chair becomes kadosh v'nora. The chair itself becomes holy. You lift up the chair. The chair goes up. So This is also how the Maggid of Mizrich explains a phrase we say every morning. We say, Mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha. So the way we usually understand that in Shachris is that the world is filled with your kinyanim, with your acquiring. But the Maggid of Mizrich, and it's brought earlier in this piece in the Slonimer, says that the world is filled with ways to buy you, meaning ways to lift up everything. Like the most mundane things like dust, like ashes can become holy when they're used for the red heifer, right? And it's such a wondrous thing that, like, when we stop and think about that for a second, we realize that's our avoda here. So, va'agarsheno min haaretz, second line again, the Slonimer says, Hainu legareshet shilton kedusha min ha'artziut. We, Balak says, I don't want that kind of world. I don't want that kind of life. Because then, perhaps I may start feeling guilty over not elevating Aretz, but devouring Aretz. I can't have that guilty conscience. Like, I don't want it around me. I don't want it around me. That's what it means. According to the first pshat, va'agarsheno min haaretz, meaning I will drive them out from the artziut. But let's continue how he develops this. Umitam zeh bikshu shelo yikansu le'eretz Yisrael. And it's for this reason that Balak asked and wanted to make sure that Am Yisrael won't go into Eretz Yisrael. I have a question. What's the kesher? We can elevate chomer, we can elevate materialism and artziut wherever we are in the world. We try to. Anywhere in the States, in Africa, in Europe, in Australia, we're constantly, when we're engaged in a world of Torah and mitzvahs, we're constantly engaged in attempting to elevate materialism. So what does he care where it happens? No, Balak cares much more about this avoda of elevating artziut when it happens in Eretz Yisrael. Now look at this. This is why when I saw it this morning, I even said to Yas, I said, listen, I know exactly what we're learning tonight for Parsha Shir. It was very clear. It wasn't complicated. So look what he says over here. We're in the fourth line. Ki hashlemut shel Yisrael ha'am hanivchar hi beknisatam le'eretz Yisrael ubekiyum hamitzvot hatluyot ba. Slonimer says the shlemus of Am Yisrael, meaning us being a complete entity and a complete unit, us as an Am HaNivchar, as a chosen people, our shlemut, our completed state of being, is manifested when biknisatam le'eretz Yisrael, when we come inside Eretz Yisrael, ubekiyum hamitzvot hatluyot ba, and then when we are able to also engage ourselves in the mitzvahs that are dependent on Eretz Yisrael. For instance, the most famous one is obviously Shemitah, which I believe will be next year. I think we're in the end of a cycle. It's either next year or the year after. So, yeah, we're in the 5th year now. I think we're going into the 6th year, and then it's going to be a 7th year. So we see over here that Am Yisrael reaches a state of completion, a complete unit of power when we're here. But it really, for what purpose? For elevating the whole world, for turning the whole world onto God, for elevating the whole world of artziut. That happens when we're here. The effect that it has on the rest of the world is incomparable than when the avoda of elevating materialism is done outside of the land. Specifically when you're engaged in mitzvahs of working the land, mitzvot hatluyot ba'aretz. So he continues over here and he says, Sheka'asher, and this is so beautiful, friends. This is so beautiful. He says, Sheka'asher yishkon ha'am hanivchar be'eretz hanivcheret, when the chosen people will dwell in the chosen land, yasigu si hashlemut, we will reach the height of shlemut, which means of completeness. But obviously, shlemut also comes from the word of shalom. We'll reach a peak, we'll reach the highest spot, we'll reach the nekuda hapnimit shebapnimit of who we really, really are. We can't do this outside of the land. Even if the whole, imagine this, everyone's so big on achdus, right? It's like the hottest word you could say these days, right? And we joke about it here that really usually when you say achdus, you're referring to a very small constricted amount of people. But let's say for a second that we're talking real achdus, and somehow we're able to get everyone together, all of Am Yisrael. But the thing is, we dwell in Sydney. We find our place on Bondi Beach. Like that's the place that it just brings us all together. So would you say, listen, there's complete achdus in the Am. That's going to fix the world, right? Elevating our tziyut, lifting up the mundane, the center where that happens in the most potent way, on the strongest level, is when it's done in Eretz Yisrael, Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. That's the way that it's done. So the Shlomo Rebbe is saying, you know what freaked out Balak? And you know what's freaking out the rest of the world? What's freaking out the rest of the world is if there is this mass aliyah. I'm not talking about the 14 planes that are scheduled for this summer, although like we said, El Al banned all flights now. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Can you imagine that? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people coming back home. What would happen? The world would be elevated. It may mean an end to 95% of Netflix. Could be. It may mean the end of 95% of things that we indulge in. It's a new order. Don't get too freaked out. It's a beautiful order. It's a holy order. But the world, like Balak, was so scared that when Am Yisrael would come back to Eretz Yisrael, they would be in their element. And when Am Yisrael is in their element, they lift up the artziyut of the whole world. So Balak says, Ulai uchal nakebo va'agarsheno min haaretz. They're not there yet. They're not in Eretz Yisrael yet. Maybe I could hit them here and drive them out of this whole region to make sure that they don't end up where they belong. Because when they end up where they belong, all of us have to get our acts together. And that's petrifying. All of us will have to abolish all hate that still exists inside of us. And that's scary because we don't know how to not hate. All of us will really have to start loving each other. And that's scary because no one really taught us how to love. I didn't grow up, many people say, I don't know, I didn't grow up in a house with love. I don't know how to be that. And it's scary. The unknown is scary. But in the same parsha that deals with Ulai uchal nakebo va'agarsheno min haaretz, we also have the complete turnaround from klalot to brachot. Because you remember, the Ribono Shel Olam is running the world. You're scared that you're not sure how to act in a world of holiness, and that for you it might seem like a klala. Don't worry. Hashem will start having donkeys talking. Hashem will have your biggest enemy come and give you a birkas kohanim, like in our parsha. Don't worry. If you're committed to follow your destiny, all the unknowns and all the variables that you don't really see how they fit and fall in place, will find a way of stimming in your heart in a way that you can't explain until you're in it. And it's therefore, I feel so strongly that if we look in Parshat Balak this week and we focus on this concept of, wow, wait a second, va'agarsheno min haaretz, this is what he wanted to do. And we fill our week, those of us that are here in Eretz Yisrael, we fill our week with being male artziut, with elevating artziut, with this Shabbos, every piece of food, which hamotzi lechem mina aretz, right? Every piece of food that we eat, we take one extra breath before and say, L'chovet Shabbos Kodesh. With everything we eat this Shabbos, not everything, but maybe like even 20% of our food, and we ma'al it, we lift up the Shabbos table. You know, we're most probably going to be much more alone with our families this Shabbos because of the numbers that just changed a few minutes ago. Interactions, the Chovet Shabbos Kodesh, the speech, are engaging with everything in this world. Mala haaretz kinyanecha ribbono shel. There are so many ways to elevate everything. These screens that we're right now communicating through, we all know they can be the biggest pitfalls of Tumah that our ancestors would have never dreamed could exist in this world, or they could be used to bring us closer to each other. So right now, hopefully right now, our screens, our devices are being nitalim. Hashemayim shalim la'Hashem, the aretz natan livnei adam. You gave us the aretz, and we're hopefully lifting them up. Hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem. But just know that whenever you do that, you're one step closer to being where you're supposed to be. That's on an individual level. But on a klal level, you could lift up all the artziut in your life wherever you are. But until you're here in Eretz Yisrael with Am Yisrael, first of all, we can't get our job done, even those of us that are here. We need each other. And for sure, for the Yid to fulfill the Torah b'shleimus, it's only here. So you have to, I want to end off by saying something very, very, very simple. And I feel like adding more to what we just said is just about Tosif, and it doesn't have to be a 3-hour shmooze tonight. It could just be this, focus on this nekuda. When it's clear to us that we need each other, we will go closer to each other. And we need each other, each and every one of us. And the land here, this holy land that we're sitting on over here, it needs us. It needs each and every one of us to come back home. So in the schut of all the chayalim hakadoshim that gave their lives so that you and I can be here and dwell in the land peacefully and securely. In the schut of the tzaddik that we're learning for tonight, for David, alav shalom, whose yortzeit is tonight, in the schut of his smile, may we sincerely take on more and more and more of mala haaretz kinyanecha, of elevating the aretz. And hopefully like that, Am Yisrael, the chosen people, will come to the chosen land, and we will all be b'si hashlimut shelanu, in the height of our completion. Hareini mekabel alai mitzvah taseh של ואהבת לרעך כמוך כמוך הריני מקבל עלי מצווה המעשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך כמוך חברים כל ישראל, חברים כל ישראל, חברים כל ישראל, הריני מקבל עלי, bum bum bee bum bee bum bee bum bee da 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 kol Yisrael, Chaverim kol Yisrael, Chaverim kol Yisrael, Hareini mekabel alai. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Yom Shekulo Shabbos. Thank you so much, everyone.